In the bustling streets of America, amid a whirlwind of new ideas and radical changes, one man stood as a beacon of ancient wisdom. Swami Vivekananda's journey through America was not just a lecture tour, but a battle against the tides of skepticism and materialism, seeking to plant the seeds of Vedanta in a land both curious and chaotic. Welcome to another episode of our series on Swami Vivekananda. In this episode, we delve into an intriguing chapter of his American journey, where he faced both adulation and opposition. From being misrepresented by promoters to confronting fierce critics of religion and materialism, Vivekananda's mission was fraught with challenges. We'll explore how he navigated these obstacles, the impact of his teachings on a diverse audience, and the deep respect he developed for American women. Join us as we uncover the trials and triumphs of Swami Vivekananda in his quest to introduce Vedanta to America. Chapter 7: Vedanta in America. After the meetings of the Parliament of Religions were concluded, Swami Vivekananda, as already noted, undertook a series of apostolic campaigns in order to sow the seed of the Vedantic truths in the ready soil of America. Soon he discovered that the lecture bureau was exploiting him. Further, he did not like its method of advertisement. He was treated as if he were the chief attraction of a circus. The prospectus included his portrait with the inscription proclaiming his cardinal virtues. An orator by divine right, a model representative of his race, a perfect master of the English language, the sensation of the world's fair parliament. It also described his physical bearing, his height, the color of his skin, and his clothing. The Swami felt disgusted at being treated like a patent medicine or an elephant in a show, so he severed his relationship with the bureau and arranged his own lectures himself. He accepted invitation from churches, clubs, and private gatherings, and traveled extensively through the eastern and midwestern states of America, delivering 12 to 14 or more lectures a week. People came in hundreds and in thousands, and what an assorted audience he had to face. There came to his meetings professors from universities, ladies of fine breeding, seekers of truth, and devotees of God with childlike faith. But mixed with these were charlatans, curiosity seekers, idlers, and vagabonds. It is not true that he met everywhere with favorable conditions. Leon Landsberg, one of the Swami's American disciples, thus described Vivekananda's tribulations of those days. "The Americans are a receptive nation. That is why the country is a hotbed of all kinds of religious and irreligious monstrosities. There is no theory so absurd, no doctrine so irrational, no claim so extravagant, no fraud so transparent, but can find their numerous believers and a ready market. To satisfy this craving, to feed the credulity of the people, hundreds of societies and sects are born for the salvation of the world, and to enable the prophets to pocket $25 to $100 initiation fees. Hobgoblins, spooks, Mahatmas, and new prophets were rising every day. In this bedlam of religious cranks, the Swami appeared to teach the lofty religion of the Vedas, the profound philosophy of Vedanta, the sublime wisdom of the ancient rishis. The most unfavorable environment for such a task. The Swami met with all kinds of obstacles. The opposition of fanatical Christian missionaries was, of course, one of these. They promised him help if he only would preach their brand of Christianity. When the Swami refused, they circulated all sorts of filthy stories about him, and even succeeded in persuading some of the Americans who had previously invited him to be their guest to cancel the invitations. But Vivekananda continued to preach the religion of love, renunciation, and truth as taught by Christ, and so show him the highest veneration as a savior of mankind. How significant were his words: "It is well to be born in a church, but it is terrible to die there." Needless to say, he meant by the word church all organized religious institutions. How like a thunderbolt the words fell upon the ears of his audience when one day he exclaimed, "Christ, Buddha, and Krishna are but waves in the ocean of infinite consciousness that I am." Then there were the leaders of the cranky, selfish and fraudulent organizations who tried to induce the Swami to embrace their cause, first by promises of support, and then by threats of injuring him if he refused to ally himself with them. But he could be neither bought nor frightened. The sickle had hit on a stone, as the Polish proverb says. To all these propositions, his only answer was, "I stand for truth. Truth will never ally itself with falsehood. Even if all the world should be against me, truth must prevail in the end." But the more powerful enemies he had to face were among the so-called freethinkers, embracing the atheists, materialists, agnostics, rationalists, and others of similar breed who opposed anything associated with God or religion. Thinking that they would easily crush his ancient faith by arguments drawn from Western philosophy and science, they organized a meeting in New York and invited the Swami to present his views. "I shall never forget that memorable evening," wrote an American disciple, "when the Swami appeared single-handed to face the forces of materialism, arrayed in the heaviest armor of law and reason and logic, and common sense, of matter and force and heredity, and all the stock phrases calculated to awe and terrify the ignorant." Imagine their surprise when they found that, far from being intimidated by these big words, he proved himself a master in wielding their own weapons, and as familiar with the arguments of materialism as with those of Advaita philosophy. He showed them that their much-vaunted Western science could not answer the most vital questions of life and being, that their immutable laws, so much talked of, had no outside existence apart from the human mind, that the very idea of matter was a metaphysical conception, and that it was much despised metaphysics upon which ultimately rested the very basis of their materialism. With an irresistible logic, he demonstrated that their knowledge proved itself incorrect, not by comparison with that which was true, but by the very laws upon which it depended for its basis. That pure reason could not help admitting its own limitations and pointed to something beyond reason. And that rationalism, when carried to its last consequences, must ultimately land us at something which is above matter, above force, above sense, above thought, and even consciousness, and of which all these are but manifestations. As a result of his explaining the limitations of science, a number of people from the group of free thinkers attended the Swami's meeting the next day and listened to his uplifting utterances on God and religion. What an uphill work it was for Swami Vivekananda to remove the ignorance, superstition, and perverted ideas about religion in general and Hinduism in particular. No wonder he sometimes felt depressed. In one of these moods, he wrote from Detroit on March 15, 1894, to the Hale sisters in Chicago. "But I do not know. I have become very sad in my heart since I am here. I do not know why. I am wearied of lecturing and all that nonsense. This mixing with hundreds of human animals, male and female, has disturbed me. I will tell you what is to my taste. I cannot write, cannot speak, but I can think deep, and when I am heated can speak fire. But it should be to a select few, a very select few, and let them carry and sow my ideas broadcast if they will, not I. It is only a just division of labor. The same man never succeeded in thinking and in casting his thoughts all around. Such thoughts are not worth a penny. I am really not cyclonic at all, far from it. What I want is not here, nor can I longer bear this cyclonic atmosphere. Calm, cool, nice, deep, penetrating, independent, searching thought, a few noble pure mirrors which will reflect it back, catch it until all of them sound in unison. Let others throw it to the outside world if they will. This is the way to perfection, to be prefect, to make perfect a few men and women. My idea of doing good is this, to evolve a few giants, and not to strew pearls to the swine and lose time, breath and energy. Well, I do not care for lecturing anymore. It is too disgusting to bring me to suit anybody's or any audience's fad. Swami Vivekananda became sick of what he termed the nonsense of public life and newspaper blazoning. The Swami had sincere admirers and devotees among the Americans who looked after his comforts. gave him money when he lacked it, and followed his instructions. He was particularly grateful to American women and wrote many letters to his friends in India paying high praise to their virtues. In one letter he wrote, "Nowhere in the world are women like those of this country. How pure, independent, self-relying and kind-hearted. It is the women who are the life and soul of this country. All learning and culture are centered in them." In another letter, Americans look with veneration upon women who play a most prominent part in their lives. Here, this form of worship has attained its perfection. This is the long and short of it. I am almost at my wit's end to see the women of this country. They are Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune in beauty, and Sarasvati, the goddess of learning in virtues. They are the divine mother incarnate. If I can raise 1,000 such Madonnas, incarnations of the Divine Mother, in our country before I die, I shall die in peace. Then only will our countrymen become worthy of their name. In the next episode, we shift our focus to a more personal and reflective chapter of Swami Vivekananda's American experience. We'll delve into his deep and respectful admiration for American women and his critical observations on both American and Indian societal issues. Stay with us as we uncover how these reflections shaped his vision for social reform and his efforts to bridge cultural gaps. Thank you for listening till the end. Please subscribe, turn on the notifications, like, comment, and share with your friends. This will help more listeners to discover our channel and content.